What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Oliver Stone, and if you just read that title and clicked immediately, good. You should have. Because Tony wins gold but loses the Dozer is not clickbait. It is not an exaggeration. It is literally what happens in Gold Rush Season 16, Episode 18. And today, I am breaking down every single detail of what is coming this Friday, March 20th, 2026. Stay with me because this one is big. Now, before anything else, I need you to understand what that title actually means. Tony wins gold but loses the Dozer. That is two things happening at the same time. A victory and a catastrophe running side by side in the same episode. And if you have been watching Gold Rush long enough, you already know that is the most realistic, most brutal, most Tony Beets scenario possible. The man wins gold, the man loses a Dozer. And somehow, the season keeps going. That right there is the entire premise of Friday's episode, and that is exactly what we are getting into today. Let me set the stage for you first. We are at Season 16, Episode 18. Think about that for a second. Episode 18. The mining season is in its final stretch. Every single decision matters right now. Every piece of equipment matters. Every ounce of gold matters. There is no room to absorb a big loss at this point in the season, and yet, Tony Beets is about to absorb one of the biggest ones. Tony wins gold but loses the Dozer is not just a dramatic title, it is a warning. It is telling you up front, here is what happens, now watch how it happens. And trust me, the how is where this episode gets really interesting. Now I am going to give you the full picture, the sneak peeks, the spoilers, the breakdown, everything you need before Friday. Let's go, starting with the gold. Tony Beets is stacking gold bricks in this episode, and I want you to understand what that means in gold mining terms. Stacking bricks means the gold has been pulled from the ground, processed, cleaned, and smelted into actual bars. That does not happen unless your operation has been running at a serious level. That is not a lucky day, that is a season worth of work paying off in one moment. When Tony builds that gold wall, it is the physical proof that Season 16 has been productive. It is the win. And the title tells you that win is real. Tony genuinely wins gold. That part is not in question. But here is where Tony wins gold but loses the Dozer becomes more than just a headline. That win happens at the same time as the loss. The gold goes up on the wall and the Dozer goes down into a flood, and both of those things are true simultaneously. That is the tension this episode is built on. And as a viewer, you feel it. You watch the gold stack up and it feels great, and then the Dozer situation unfolds and it hits different. Because now you realize the win and the loss are not separate events. They are happening together. Tony is experiencing both at the exact same time, and that is powerful television. Now let us talk about the Dozer, because this is the loss that defines the episode. The Dozer gets flooded. A rescue mission is launched, and that rescue mission goes off the rails. I want to focus on those three words, off the rails, because that phrase is doing serious work in the episode summary. Off the rails does not mean it got a little complicated. Off the rails means something went wrong that was not supposed to go wrong. The rescue plan breaks down. The situation gets worse instead of better. And at episode 18 of Season 16, losing a Dozer is not a minor setback. It is a crisis. Here is why. A Dozer in a gold mining operation is not optional. It is the machine that moves material. It pushes dirt, clears ground, and keeps the entire process flowing. Without a functioning Dozer, your production slows down or stops completely. And when you are in the final weeks of a Yukon mining season, slow down or stop are two phrases you absolutely cannot afford to hear. Tony wins gold but loses the Dozer, and that Dozer loss lands harder because of the timing. Right when Tony should be riding the gold win into the finish line, the ground takes his equipment. That is Gold Rush, that is the Yukon, and that is why we watch every single week. Now here is the element that adds another dimension to this whole episode, Klaus Beets. Tony calls in his brother Klaus to come in and help boost gold production. Klaus Beets is not a supporting character here, he is a Beets. Same background, same standards, same absolute refusal to accept anything less than results. Tony bringing Klaus in at this specific moment, episode 18, season under pressure, Dozer crisis incoming, tells you Tony is serious about finishing strong. This is not a casual visit. This is Tony making a calculated decision to bring in someone he trusts completely and someone who can match his pace without needing to be managed. And here is what makes Klaus's arrival so fascinating in the context of Tony wins gold, but loses the Dozer. Klaus shows up to help boost production, and instead he walks straight into a Dozer rescue mission that is already falling apart. That is the environment he enters. Gold going up, equipment going down, and Tony in the middle of both. How Klaus handles that pressure, how the two brothers operate together under those conditions, that is the human story inside the bigger story this episode is telling. The official episode title is Like Brother, and now that title hits on two levels. On the surface, it is about Tony and Klaus, two brothers, same DNA, same work ethic, working side by side. But underneath that, it is about what happens when you put two people with the same intensity and the same standards in the middle of a high-stakes crisis. Do they solve it together? Do they clash? Do they carry each other through it? Tony wins gold, but loses the Dozer is the headline. Like brother is the story underneath it. Now let me tell you exactly what to watch for when you sit down this Friday. First, watch Tony the moment those gold bricks go on the wall, not the bricks, Tony. His face, his body language, what he says or does not say. That moment tells you how good the season has actually been and how much that win means to him personally. Second, find the exact moment the Dozer rescue goes off the rails. There will be a turning point, a moment where you can see on everyone's face that the plan is not working. That moment is the most important scene in the episode because it is the pivot from bad to worse, and how Tony responds to that pivot will tell you everything. Third, watch Klaus and Tony work together. Pay attention to the dynamic between them. Who leads, who follows, where they agree, where the tension shows. Two Beets brothers on site in the middle of a crisis is not a small thing. That relationship is the emotional engine of this episode. And fourth, watch the ending. Tony wins gold, but loses the Dozer tells you the result. But the ending of the episode will show you how Tony carries both of those things. Does he look at the gold wall and let that be enough? Or does the Dozer loss sit with him? That final beat is going to set up everything left in Season 16. So here is where we land. Gold Rush Season 16, Episode 18, Like Brother, drops this Friday, March 20th, 2026. Tony wins gold, but loses the Dozer. A win and a loss in the same breath. A season defined in a single episode, and a Beets family moment that is going to be talked about for the rest of this season. I want to hear from you right now in the comments. Do you think that Dozer gets saved, or is it gone for good? Drop your answer below because Oliver Stone genuinely wants to know where the Gold Rush community stands before Friday night. If this breakdown added value for you today, hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps the channel more than you know. Subscribe if you are not already part of the team. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode breakdown or recap. And I will see you Friday night with the full reaction after the episode drops. This is Oliver Stone. Tony wins gold but loses the Dozer, and we will be right here for every second of it. See you Friday.